Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever episode of Golden Corral's Movie Corner. Today on the first ever episode of Golden Corral's Movie Corner, I'm going to be talking about the next installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, Volume 2. Now, this movie came out about 2 weeks ago, so I've given you a lot of time to see this movie and formulate your own opinion, but this is going to be spoiler free. I'm just going to be talking about my thoughts on the movie and not give away the plot or anything like that. Let me just say that this movie was definitely disappointing in my opinion. I didn't think it was fantastic, and there are a couple reasons for that, but let me just quickly throw some context into it. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was one of the first Marvel movies of its kind. It didn't take itself as seriously as some of the other movies we had seen before, like Iron Man and Iron Man 2, Captain America. Movies like that had come out before that were MCEU movies didn't take itself so seriously. When the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, it was original, it had an original plot, and it had an amazing soundtrack, and even added some humor and a lot more laughs into it than we had seen in Marvel movies before it. So this kind of created spin-offs like it, like Ant-Man and movies like that we came to really enjoy. Now, the issue arises that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 throws that out the window and I almost feel like takes itself too seriously, which launches myself into my three biggest issues with this movie. So let's dive right in. The first issue I have is the soundtrack. Now, if you saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, you know that it was absolutely fantastic. The soundtrack was one of the things that pushed the plot forward and almost gave you the theme. And in the first movie, they had fantastic songs like Hooked on a Feeling, Cherry Bomb, and songs like that just really pushed forward the plot and really kind of brought together this team, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Unfortunately, in the second movie, they have a couple good songs, Brandy, Father and Son, but other than that, they really kind of don't have as good of a soundtrack as the first movie, and that's my first big issue, is that when you go into a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's called Volume 2, so it's obviously pushing forward that theme of being a, soundtrack, awesome mix part 2. Everyone owned the first volume, the first soundtrack of that movie, and the problem was the second one, was a bit forgettable. I thought that there were a couple good songs, but it didn't push forward the plot as much as it was necessary. Now, my second big issue is the subplots of this movie. The subplots of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 are, in my opinion, stories that I didn't care about. Now, a lot of people who are hardcore Marvel fans will tell me that there were reasons why they explored the sister conflict between Gamora and her sister, and there were reasons why they explored the story of Star-Lord finding his father, but in my opinion, I didn't really care about that. The one subplot I did care about, in my first positive aspect of the movie, is that you see Rocket Raccoon really develop with Yondu as a fantastic character. Now, the big issue I find is that there's a forced romance, even more so in the second movie than there was in the first movie. I felt like Gamora and Star-Lord in the first movie, the unspoken thing was all right. It was kind of a undertone of the movie, and it was okay. But the issue arose in the second movie that it almost felt like they were hitting you over the head with a sledgehammer and forcing this romance down your throat. It wasn't really something that we needed to see in the framework that they put it in the second movie. They kind of made it more of a prominent thing, and in my opinion, it wasn't really necessary. Now, there are a lot of people who care about that subplot, who care about a lot of the subplots that there are in this movie, but I'm not one of those people. I felt like the subplots they explored weren't ones that I really cared about, and they ultimately ended up falling flat. My third issue is that it's a bit too formulaic, even for a Marvel movie. If you look at this movie, in its shell, it's perfectly fine for what a Marvel movie has come to be. Something where people don't really have any real stakes and nothing is actually going to happen to anybody and everything's going to end up fine. This movie was very predictable. You could tell what was going to happen from start to finish, and in my opinion, that's the issue. We have learned to accept Marvel movies because they have a few cool scenes here and there, they have great effects, they've hired wonderful actors and great directors. The problem is, Every single story is exactly the same. They just get different people to do it. And that's my biggest issue right now with Marvel movies overall, is they're way too predictable. The movies are the same thing, just different casts. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 does have some bright points, so let me point out some positives. As always, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did provide some laughs and did have great acting. Chris Pratt, Bradley Cooper, and the company did do a wonderful job giving themselves that good acting that we saw in the first movie. Another positive is that the storyline is, one of the biggest storylines is Rocket Raccoon finding himself. And in my mind, that was absolutely beneficial to the story. I think that him finding himself and his relationship with Yondu established in this movie is absolutely fantastic. And I think that they did a fantastic job establishing that point and really bringing it home. Another positive is that it gave us what we expected. If you walk into Guardians of the Galaxy, shut your brain off, and just expect a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you're probably going to think it's a perfectly fine movie. The issue is I walked in with my brain on, hoping that Marvel was going to give me something new in 2017, and they didn't, and that was my biggest issue. Now let's get down to the rankings. As always, we're going to do the Marvel movie ranking first. Now, my Marvel movie ranking stays the same after this movie. Civil War #1, Winter Soldier #2, Avengers 3, Iron Man, and Age of Ultron rounding out my top 5 at 4 and 5 respectively. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, while it did have its negatives, I still put it in my top 10 Marvel movies. I think there's only been 12 in the MCU or 13 or something, so it is in my top 10. And I do think it's better than like an Iron Man 2, better than an original Captain America, better than both Thor movies. I do think that it's still in that list. However, I don't think it was as good as an original Guardians. I don't think it was as good as an Iron Man 3, and I don't think it was as good as an Ant-Man. I think it took itself too seriously to be a Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man quality movie, but didn't take itself seriously enough to be an Avengers or an Age of Ultron or an Iron Man 3. I just think that it was missing something in my mind. Now, 2017 movies. I've only really seen 2 2017 movies thus far, and right now, #1 is obviously Logan. Saw that movie in March. It was absolutely fantastic. Didn't get to do a review on that one, but let me just say that if you haven't seen that movie, it comes out on DVD, I think, in about a week. And let me tell you, that movie is fantastic. It's worth the purchase. It's worth owning. It's an amazing movie with great acting and a wonderful end to Hugh Jackman's career as Logan or as the Wolverine. Gave that one a 95 out of 100. Now, I could go through the formula, and I probably will at some point, but Guardians of the Galaxy 2 gets a 65 or a 6.5 out of 10, gets a 65 out of 100. I think that the plot points missed the mark a little bit. I think that the acting was decent, but not amazing. And I do think the biggest issue is there was no real gut-wrenching moment for me. There was a moment, and another positive, was there was one moment in this movie that was worth my ticket. If you have seen the movie, you understand what moment I'm talking about. It caused so much anger for me that it alone is worth your ticket. Now, here, let's go over some upcoming movies to finish this off. Wonder Woman coming out in just under 2 weeks. We've got on June the 2nd, Wonder Woman kicks off our summer movies. And let me tell you, I'm really excited. Hopefully the DC Cinematic Universe is able to bring home something and get a win in what a lot of people are very excited for. Spider-Man Homecoming starts off our very busy month of July with an amazing movie in the first week. I'm very excited for Spider-Man Homecoming. It looks absolutely fantastic. Ready to see that one. Then 2 weeks later, Dunkirk, a very exciting war movie. If you haven't seen the trailer for that one yet, watch it. Dunkirk comes out July 21st. Very excited for that one. And then Detroit rounds off our summer movies in the first week of August. August 4th, this one comes out. And this one's a little lesser known. The theatrical trailers just started playing. Go on YouTube, find the trailer for Detroit. It's going to be a fantastic movie. I'm really excited for it. And it's going to be, I feel like this will be the best movie of the summer if it's done correctly. The director of Zero Dark 30 is coming back and doing Detroit. I'm really excited for it. Then in September, we've got the new Kingsman movie. November gives us Thor Ragnarok. Really excited. Hopefully they'll give us a good Thor movie that we've been waiting for. And then in December, you've got Episode 8. That's all I have today for Golden Corral's Movie Corner. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, smash that like button. Papa bless.